I'm going to be your trainer for the DevOps class. Let's wait for another 2-3 minutes. There are people who are still joining in, and then we will start. Thank you very much, Kuldeep, for wishing me a happy Teachers' Day. It's very kind of you. I appreciate that. From tomorrow, I would appreciate if, well, people who have already joined, they don't need to bother about this, but I would really appreciate if people join sharp on time so that we don't lose time during the training itself. Let me start discussing a few things while people are joining in. Let's start by sharing my screen first. Okay, there we go. Now, what I would advise you, today's agenda, let me first of all be clear on today's agenda. Today, I'm going to discuss a few more details about DevOps. So basically, what is DevOps? Two questions we will try to answer here. What is DevOps? And what does a DevOps engineer do? These are the two main questions we will discuss. In the process of discussing these two questions, I will be walking you through the concept of software development lifecycle. Yesterday was just a brief introduction, like where in the software development cycle, what are the different kinds of teams that work, what is being done actually in the background, and also where the DevOps engineer actually stands. And then later on, we will also see like what was the traditional method, and once the DevOps culture and the tools and methodology was get started implemented, then how it enhances productivity, how it changes the entire concept of SDLC or software development lifecycle. Okay, so that is the idea here, today's agenda. But apart from that, there are a few things I would definitely suggest to you guys. That is, create one email account which will be specifically for your training purpose, because there will be lots of tools and lots of websites where you will have to log in. Use that specifically only for your DevOps training so that it does not mix up with your other email accounts. Create only one email account. It's a pretty easy task. Create a Gmail account. So like for this training purpose, I've created a specific Gmail, and using that, use only that Gmail for all of your DevOps related tasks. Now, the very first thing we need is creating an AWS account. Now, I have seen in the past, like people are having a lot of difficulty. So let me actually walk you through. Even I will create a new AWS account and we will use that. So just search for AWS in Google. You'll come to this site, Amazon Web Services official site. Okay, so we are going to create something called AWS free tier account. So we will click on create a free account. So before you start this process, you should definitely have your a working debit card or a credit card, or using which you can do online transactions. Okay, so I'm going to have a root. So when you sign up, you will need a email address. That email address will become your root email account. In that is what it will get associated with your AWS account. So let me quickly grab the new email which I've created. Just copy this, and I'm going to use this. And account name, let me just put in training. And then we will click on verify email address. So the email that you have put in that you will get a verification code. So let me check. As you can see, I've received a verification code. This is a one-time thing. So create your email first. Just put in the password here, and then I click on verify. And now it is asking me to create some root password. And create some password here. If you keep getting errors here, that means you're not using the proper instructions as per the password. You create a password which will be sort of alphanumeric with lowercase, capital case, and also we'll have special characters. So let me continue in the journey. Okay, so I have not used a proper password. So let me let it suggest a password. Let me click on yes. So I'm just using this. Okay, so make sure that you don't choose business here. This is just going to be a personal one. Just put my name in here. I'll just quickly stop sharing my screen, and I'll put in the, so basically what I'm going to put in here are my personal details related to my country, address, city, postal code, and this stuff here. Okay, and a phone number. So let me just stop my screen share, and I will fill up these details here. So I'm going through the process of filling in my phone number and address details here. Don't put things randomly here, because your AWS will actually check the details from your geolocation. So if you put the country United States, then your internet IP address is coming from India or London or anywhere else in the world, that will create a problem. I'm nearly done. I will agree. There will be a checkbox at the bottom. Let me click on continue. So now I have clicked on continue and it has transferred me to this page here where I need to provide billing information. So this is the place where you have to use your credit card or debit card. So whatever I'm using now, again, for my security reasons, I'm going to stop sharing the screen here and I will add my card details here. So your card will definitely be associated with a mobile phone number. You must make sure that your card is enabled for online transactions, because this is an online transaction. Now, because I'm doing it from India, Amazon will actually deduct only 2 rupees from my account. Not a big deal. And that too, the amount that they are going to deduct, they are going to, within 2 to 3 working days, they are going to return back that money. This is only for verification that they are doing this. I'm just in the process of filling up these details now. For the billing address part, you can use your own same contact address. They will ask if you have got a PAN number or not. You can just click no, because this is just a account that we are using only for our training purpose. I have clicked on So I've clicked on the next step where it is actually asking me for an OTP, as you will all know. And I'll have to fill in the OTP here. Just give me a second while I do that. So this part will be for your own, from bank to bank, it will vary. Whatever card you are using. So right now I'm getting a message like it has deducted. It is going to deduct 2 rupees. I'll do one thing. I'll post the screenshot for the same. So you'll get a message something like this. Don't worry, I'll show that to you once I'm done with this, and I'll share my screen soon. Okay. So I got a message from my bank that the amount has been deducted. And before the deduction, I mean, like it asked for a OTP and I got a screen like this. Okay, so the merchant is Amazon and 2 rupees was deducted. But this amount will actually be reverted back within 3 to 5 working days maximum. Okay. This is a mandatory thing. Make sure that your merchant is Amazon and you don't go to any other website. You should go through this AWS console only. These kind of links should be there. Now again, here finally I will have to confirm my identity once again. So here it is going to send me a text message or a voice call on the phone that I registered with Amazon initially. Okay. So let me just stop the screen share again and let me verify myself here again. Your country and your phone number should match with whatever you initially put in. So what you need to do is the email and the phone number that you have used to create your AWS account, write it down somewhere, because you will need that in case of any kind of account recovery or in case of any issue related to your account. You will always need that email and the phone number. So now it is in the process of verifying my phone number by sending me SMS. I'm just going through that process. So I have received the code here and I'll just verify with the code. This is a one-time activity only. So primary purpose of account, I'll just put in academic here. Ownership type individual. That is good enough for us. Now here, this part is important. When you sign up for AWS, now it will give various support plans. Make sure you choose basic support free. Okay, because this is the one that we are going to use so that we don't get charged. And by doing this, so this is mandatory here. Okay, let me grab a screenshot here. Make sure you use this only. Don't use any other option. Otherwise, monthly deduction will be there of $29 or $100. Don't choose developer support or business support. Make sure basic support free is chosen.
Guys, you all have to do this. Not now, but once after this video will be shared to all of you. So today is like we are going to create our AWS account, and this whatever steps he's following, you have to follow that, so that the lab, as our company name, Learn with Project Labs, you will be able to create the lab, and in that lab you will be implementing the projects which we'll be sharing with you.
Thank you for that insight, Rahul. So as you can see, my account has been created successfully. Now, maybe a few of the people you have already, a few of the folks who have already done that. That's good, but this is for people who were not able to create it. So this is a very simple way how you can do this. Now, I will just click on this button, go to AWS Management Console. This is where everything happens. Okay, so my registration confirmation, fine. I'll click on sign into console. Now I made Google remember the password. So I'm logging in as root user here. Actually, it will be the email that I created. So this is the new email I created. I will always have to log in using this email. There you go. Now I'm logged in, as you can see. Now in AWS console, this is the first time I'm logging in. As you can see, this is everything I'm doing from scratch in front of you. The major thing that you will see here is on the top right corner, here you have got your region. These are all the AWS regions. Okay, so you should choose the region which is nearest to your geographical location. So because I'm in India, so out of all these regions, Asia Pacific Mumbai this will be the nearest one for me. So I'll just go ahead and select that. I'll not choose Sydney. Sydney is in Australia, so that server will be a lot far away. Rather, I will choose Mumbai. There you go. So this is how you successfully create a AWS account. Now, people who have joined late, in between, if you have later on when you watch the videos, in between, like I had to stop sharing my screen. That was only because I was putting in my personal details regarding my card and for providing the billing access here. Okay, so this is how you create your AWS account. Good. Now we have our email that we require. Okay, and we have our, so you'll get a welcome message. So make sure that in the message you get the free tier is mentioned. Free tier I will discuss later on. So this is mandatory. Without this account, because everything that you do, our Linux servers that we are going to create, or any other server as part of this DevOps training, that will be happening through this AWS Cloud Console. This is your AWS console home. From here, you can, you can navigate anywhere, choose one of the various services that are available. For example, here we are going to use EC2. So this part we will discuss in subsequent classes. These are one of the most common ones: IAM, EC2, S3, RDS, Lambda. These are the most common ones. Okay. And for some reason, it has again changed my location, maybe because I clicked on backspace. So I should make sure that you always remain in your, in the beginning. Once you log in, make sure your region, whatever you had chosen in the beginning, that is the one that you always use. Okay. That being done, now let us also install a couple of tools that we will require. And then I will, there is one more tool that we will require, that is called MobaXterm. Okay. This is the one that we are going to use as part of our course. So search in Google for MobaXterm, and this first link that you get, MobaXterm, MobaTech MobaXterm, just click on this link. So this is the software that we are going to use to connect to our remote servers every time. It is a lot easier. Earlier we had discussed PuTTY. PuTTY you can do anytime, but now this one will be easier to use. For PuTTY, every time for each server you will have to click on every new session. But here it is easier to use because you can create tabs here. So as of now, they are giving the home edition as free for personal use, but otherwise this is a paid software. Okay, so we will use PuTTY and MobaXterm both. So MobaXterm will be easier for you to use. That is the reason why I'm teaching you this using this software. So I clicked on download, and the one that I'm going to use is the installer home edition. Okay, let me download that. So it is nearly 30 MB file. Let me go to the downloads folder. So here, showing folder, it has completed the download, but this is like in a zipped format. Okay, so I need to right click and extract all here. Now the operating system that I'm using here for demonstration is Windows 11 Home Edition. Okay, so here, once it is extracted, so this was the zip file. So this was the zip file. Okay, compressed file. Its size is 28.5, but then the installer is, this concept we will see later on also. It is 30.2 MB. So it has expanded. Now, if I get inside this folder, there is MobaXterm installer 23.2 version. I'll just double click on it. Pretty simple, actually. Just click on next, agree to the license agreement, click on next, click on next, click on install. There will be a warning. I selected yes. That is administrator level warning. I allowed that. This will take a couple of seconds. And there you go. Completed the MobaXterm setup wizard. Let us click on finish. And I can actually, because it is installed now, I can clear up my downloads folder. I can get rid of these two folders. I'll just click on delete, leave it empty to save space. Okay, now that we are done, yeah, I think I will give you the MobaXterm link. This is for MobaXterm. Don't worry, we will be learning lots of softwares. Yeah, this is good enough. So let us start. Let us see how we can use MobaXterm. So this will be your link here, MobaXterm. Okay, how do we use this? So if you, the thing is, before I can connect, when I double click on this, for the first time it is launching. First time startup will look something like this.
So guys, some of you are asking, is this software required, or are we doing what exactly we are currently doing? So guys, we are trying to set up our lab in our machine, which we'll be using. This particular lab setup is very much important because we'll be following the same steps. Like we will use these tools later in our project, and at that time it will be easy for you all to follow the steps following the video which Kallol is explaining. Okay, so as this is kind of a corporate kind of a training where one guy will do and you will do the same steps by clicking on the things, by understanding the things. Okay, if you're not able to understand, simply you will ask in the live class. So follow these steps. This is prerequisite lab setup, which is very important for all of you.
So right now, I will not advise people to actually do the thing parallelly with me. Just understand the concepts here. The video recording will be provided. You can pause and play those recordings and then do the experiment on your own. In case you are having some trouble, then we can discuss this in the next class. So this is the first time I started MobaXterm. I will explain. Don't worry. I'll explain with diagram like what we are exactly doing. So somebody has asked a question like why we need this software. So as Rahul described earlier, we will use this to connect to server. But before that, I will have to allow your Windows firewall is actually securities trying to verify if this is a correct software or not. So I will allow access. Otherwise, this will not work. This you will get only once, okay, because this is the first time it is getting configured. That is why it is showing. Now you can choose the light or the dark version. Okay, so I'm going to choose the dark version because it is easier to see code. So this is your software. So now let me actually explain what is happening here. Second. So we have our AWS console. No, let me actually directly start typing here. This my pen. So what is AWS? What is MobaXterm? What is EC2? This is the flow now. Why we are doing all of this? So we have created one AWS account. Okay. So this is our cloud provider, cloud service provider. Nothing is going to, we are going to do in our local system. We are going to do everything in cloud so that the resources are always available. In future, if your computer crashes, you just have to log in back to AWS and you will have because all the resources that you're going to create will be on your AWS, so it will not be a problem for us. Now, so for the AWS can provide many services. Out of that, we are interested in something called, right now what we are interested in is something called Amazon EC2. This service we are going to use. Why are we going to use this service? So that we can create our server. Okay. And then we can connect. This is our remote server. Okay. This you have to create first. So we have already created our AWS account. That is why the next step here. So this is number 1. This is number 2. Second step. After I create the EC2 instance, then I will, as step number 3, I will use MobaXterm software, the one that we just now installed. Because this is a Windows system, you will need MobaXterm software to connect. You can use connect using PuTTY also. Okay, so let me look for the logo here for MobaXterm. Yeah. Now this part is actually important. Always when I will do any session, any lab session, before that I will draw some diagram here so that you can understand like what is it exactly that we are doing currently. Okay, so MobaXterm is your software to connect from Windows local system to remote EC2, which will have, in which we are going to install Linux. Okay, this is the main purpose here. That is what we are doing, connecting the that is why we need MobaXterm. From Windows local system to remote EC2 instance. Okay, this is the purpose. How now? Let me actually. Can we please unmute them? Let them ask questions now, because this part for beginners, this is a little bit tricky. Admin or who is hosting? Could you kindly unmute? Allow people to ask questions.
Given the access, unmute access.
Yes, go ahead. Who wants? Who has doubts here? This is the time to ask before I proceed.
Yeah, hi sir. I have one doubt.
Go ahead.
In the real time, how we can log into this AWS cloud? So will they give any official email ID to log into this cloud?
Yes, of course. That will. So when you are going to work in an organization, then you are not. So here I've used my personal ID, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, but when you are going to use AWS account or any other cloud service account or any account, as a matter of fact, that will be a business account, and that company will provide, and there will be some IT manager, some other senior DevOps engineer, or a project manager or technical lead. Somebody will be there who will be responsible for this. Nothing will be personable in an organization. Okay, so but here I have logged in using my personal ID, and when I say personal ID, I have logged into something called a root account.
Okay, but in real time we don't have this root privileges, right?
But no, root account only the administrator will have access.
Okay, AWS administrator.
So we don't need to get into that. AWS from root account, you will be creating child accounts. Okay, they are called IAM accounts. Oops.
Okay.
Okay, those are child accounts. So IAM 1. So maybe this will be for dev 1. Then another IAM account will be created that will be for tester 1. Okay, or maybe another IAM account for project manager, like that. And then you will use that particular ID. So this is again not your personal ID. That will be provided by administrator. Okay, but that is part of AWS. Okay, but
Okay.
it will be like that only. So right now, to make things easy, what I've done here is I have simply logged in using my root account, because I just now created this account in front of you, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So this whatever is coming as training, this is the first account which I've created, and I've logged in using my root ID, root email, the email and the password which I created. Okay, so yeah, that should answer your question. Anything, any other doubts or queries? Let me go back to
so
the.
Kalol, Sai is there. I think Sai
Hmm.
is and there are a lot of other folks who joined today. So they wanted. I know that you are asking from this particular slide. So before we go to this slide, can you? I've already shared them the yesterday's video, but then can you just go and yesterday's drafted project diagram was there. He's requesting that if you can just explain a little bit the yesterday's diagram, the major project, like what all tools we'll be using and what are
Oh,
the things.
okay, okay,
That particular diagram in
okay.
just not take more time. That's it. Yeah.
Before going there, Rahul, can I ask a question to Gaurav?
Gaurav.
Yeah,
Who's
Gaurav,
Sorry.
this is Kalol's class.
Oh, Kalol, I'm so sorry.
You can
I
ask
thought
me.
it was Gaurav's.
Ping
Yeah.
me over WhatsApp.
Yeah,
Ping
what
me
is the
over
question?
chat.
Never mind. Please ask
It's
your
a very
question.
a simple question, like because we connect the party with PPK, like party connections. Now, if I wants to connect in MobaXterm, and how I'm gonna put PM?
You can use both.
pump-
Okay, so you guys, you need to give me some time. I am starting from the very scratch here. I'm sorry, I did not catch your name.
This is Rumi.
Rumi. So Rumi, any software that you are using here, instead of MobaXterm, you can use PuTTY also. It does not matter. A software is just a software. Okay, but the purpose is to connect. Connect where? From your Windows system. So see, I'll make it very simple. But since you have asked the question, so
I
what am I
was
using?
using this MobaXterm from long time, but I haven't used PPK. And I was a PAM
I
file.
will explain. I will explain. So this is actually a security related issue that you're talking about. This is key pair. Okay. So understand this people get confused with this. So it is best explained with diagram. So you can have a Windows system. Rahul, I will come to that part regarding that project description, but because Rumi has asked this, so let me actually complete this. You can have a Mac system. It's a good thing. I was planning to deal with this later on, but now because the question has been raised, so let me answer this. So you can have a Windows system, you can have a Mac system. Does not matter. Or as such, you can have a Linux system. Okay. Here you go. Now, these are three different. So let's say, so these are three different computers. Okay. Now, what we are doing essentially is we are going to connect to a remote EC2 instance. Okay, if it works for one, it will work for multiple computers also. So right now, just consider this. This is a remote EC2 instance. In that instance, so this is nothing but a computer. Okay, nothing to confuse here. All of these are computers. It has, because it is managed by Amazon. So that EC2 is simply referring to a computer. Just think of it like a computer, but the computer is not at your home. Oops, sorry. It is in a remote location. Okay, the computer. So I will just call it remote computer. Now, this is these are your personal computers. Okay, three different computers you have. Let's say these are personal computers. Okay, three different versions. That can be a Windows laptop, it can be a Apple Mac, or it can be another Linux system itself. Now, what we are going to do here is in our Amazon EC2 instance, we are going to install. Every computer requires an operating system. So our Amazon EC2 instance that we are going to use, that will have Linux in it. Okay, the operating system in that is going to be Linux. So basically the challenge here is to connect between the, so what is our use case? Our use case is Windows 10. Now only for Windows 10, you will need some software to, so basically these are two different computers connecting from, so one is a Windows computer connecting to a Linux system. Okay, so for that you need some software in between to connect. Directly you cannot connect. So that software that we are going to use here is MobaXterm. But is MobaXterm the only software? No, you can use, there are other softwares also to which you can use. As just now Rumi said, there is something called PuTTY. Okay. Now the only reason why you can use both, I will teach you both of them. You should be aware of both the ways. PuTTY actually in the previous sessions I have shown, but nevertheless I will still show it. Okay, so both these softwares can be used, PuTTY or MobaXterm, but you will be using any one of them. Okay, and why do we? When is this required? Only for the scenario where you are going to connect from a Windows system. Okay, this is the only time when you are going to do a connection from a Windows system to a Linux system. If you have got, now let us come to Mac OS. If you have got Mac OS or Linux system, then you will have something called, so in the backend, there is something called SSH, Secure Shell. That is the security protocol that is used by Linux. Okay, what SSH is, that we will discuss a little bit later on, but it is the security protocol, secure shell, using which you will using which you will be able to connect. So I'm just looking for a proper image here. So it is a protocol that is used. Let's see. Got something here. So in the backend, in both the cases, SSH is being used in all the cases here. But in Windows, so SSH is the actual client which is connecting. But in case of Mac OS and Linux, when you're going to connect, that you can connect directly using, oops, sorry, I'm supposed to pick up a line. You can connect directly using the SSH client. They have inbuilt client in them. Okay, so for Linux also you can do the same. From Linux to Linux, let me choose a different color so that you don't confuse. Okay, so Windows is also going to use SSH. It is not as if SSH is not being used. MobaXterm and PuTTY in the background, they are also going to use SSH client only to connect securely to our remote system. Okay, but then in MobaXterm, now there is the concept of the security key. Okay, so that is called key pair. This is in SSH, this is the concept. It uses something called key pair. So when I'm saying pair, that means there will be two things. One will be a private key and the other one will be a public key. Private key, public key. Now, this one I will discuss in detail later on. So what is going to happen in every instance is, whenever you are going to use MobaXterm, your system will have the connecting system uses the private key. So let me mention it here. Who uses the private key? The connecting system. In this case, my Windows 10 laptop that is trying to connect. that will use the private key. The public key is stored in remote system. Which is the remote system? The EC2 instance in this case, to which I'm going to connect to using the private key. Okay. Now the private key can be in, so for example, music files. I will ask questions, please answer now so that you can understand. This is for Rumi actually. I would prefer you answer this. If I ask you, what are the various formats of music files you know? What will be your answer?
Actually, I know like image we save like with a PNG, JPEG.
No, I'm
all
talking
these
about
format.
music file. Music file.
Is music file is WM or something. I forgot
WMA.
exactly the
Yes.
extension.
MP4, MP4.
MP4 is video file. MP4 is video
but
file.
WM
MP3.
something.
WMA,
MP3, sorry.
MP3 WAV. So these are the various kinds of formats. They all will at the end will transfer music only, right? It will be something related to audio that you are going to hear, right? Similarly, when we are going to store private key, this is where I have seen people get confused. So to put it very simply, private key also has got formats. Actually, let me use a different color. Private key, just like your music files have got formats, private key also has got formats in, oops, what happened? Yeah. What are the two formats we use? One is .ppk and the other is .pem. Okay. These are the two formats of private key. Now, because what is our use case? We are going to connect from Windows to Amazon EC2. This is my local laptop. From local laptop, I'm going to connect, which has got Windows 10, and using AWS. Using any one of these softwares, actually both of them, you can connect using the private key. So here, remember, this is my connecting OS, connecting computer. So here there is going to be private key. Oops, let me choose red color. Here I'm going to use private key. That private key you can use both .pem or .ppk. The thing is, with PuTTY, you can use only .ppk. Only .ppk will be allowed. Okay, because .ppk means
where calling your
private.
friends can be both easy.
Thank you. That was unexpected. So .ppk is PuTTY private key. That is the short form. Sorry, full form. My bad. So ppk stands for PuTTY private key. Okay. Now I've forgotten the PEM. Let me just quickly check PEM full form. Okay, Google is giving me PEM. Why is it giving protein energy malnutrition? No.
Even I forgot. Yeah, we can move ahead. It's like it's a private key, a general standard private key. We can think like that.
Yeah, it is. No, I got it. Privacy enhanced mail. I'll just give it. So privacy enhanced. Although it has got nothing to do with mail, but that's its full form. But anyways, focus on this part here. So PuTTY, using PuTTY when you are going to connect from Windows 10 to your Amazon Linux, you can use only .ppk file. But if you are going to use the MobaXterm software, you can use both .ppk and .pem. Both of them you can use to connect. Okay. So does that answer your question, Rumi? I hope it does. But in case you're trying to connect from a Mac system or a Linux system, you can simply use the .pem file. At that time, you will not be using the .ppk. So as a matter of fact, let me actually create, where is my system? In my, so now let me create. So if we are going to connect, we need a remote server, right? Now I have my Windows 10 system, but I don't have the remote server. So let me go ahead and create one remote server. From where are you going to create the remote server? From your AWS console. This is called your AWS console. So I'll just search for EC2 here, because that is the name of the service. See, EC2. The moment I search, you can create virtual servers in the cloud. So I'll click on EC2. It will do its thing. Make sure you remember the region you are in. Okay. At the top, the page is loading. Let's give it some time. This is the first time the page is loading. That is the way. So your region is very important. If you maybe in future you say that I created EC2 instance, but I'm not able to see it, check your region first. Where have you created? So right now I don't have any instances running. So that instance EC2, they are all the same thing. They are all referring to the computer only. But this is the remote computer. So let me actually write it down in case you get confused. So the word, oops, did I delete anything? No. So EC2 instance, EC2 is equal to instance is equal to remote server. They are the same thing. Is equal to remote computer. Do not get confused. These words are used analogously. Instead of remote server, I might call it instance, I might call it EC2, I might call it remote computer. They are referring basically to the same thing. So let us quickly create one EC2 instance. I have clicked on this launch instance. So this is a test server. I'll have to give a name to it. I will copy this name. This is the name that you are giving to your computer. And here I'm going to choose. There are various versions of operating systems that you can choose. I'm going to choose Amazon Linux AWS. This is one of the Linux distributions that AWS has itself created. Okay. So make sure your whatever you are choosing should be free tier eligible. Otherwise, it will cost you money. Okay, so 64-bit x86, this is fine. It is going to be T2 micro. And here in key pair login, so this is where your SSH comes into picture. Okay, you are going to create a new key pair, because right now if I check my drop down, there is no key pair. So it is not recommended. For the security of the server, you should always create a key pair. Okay, the key pair name, I will just put in the same name as the name that I gave to my server. Okay, leave the things default here. Now see, .pem is there. Okay, it is giving you the default option. It will give you the format for the key file. Private key file will be .pem. If you want to use putty, then you are going to have to use .ppk. But right now I'm trying to use .pem, because if you download .pem, this thing you will get only once. You will not get a chance second time for any new server that you are creating. Okay, you can use an existing key, but for the first time when you are creating a key, the download option will be given to you only once. It is you download the .pem format instead of .ppk. I will explain the reason why. Because from .pem you can create a .ppk file, but the other way around is not possible. Okay, so choose the default version rsa.pem and then click on create key pair. Remember this name. Okay, so something got downloaded here. If you see, the test server.pem file got downloaded in my system. This is the private key that I'm going to use to connect. Okay, so my key pair is test key pair. Network setting, I will write right now. I will not get into this part. This is for a later class. And this is the storage. So here there are basically the network settings. Okay, this we will discuss later on. This will take some time to teach. And here we have got the storage where 8 GB of hard disk space is allocated. You cannot choose less than that. It is as simple as that. Let us click on launch instance. So what we are doing here now in the AWS console is we are just creating the server. We have not logged in yet. Okay, so it has launched the computer. So basically the remote computer has only been created and it should be in a running state. Before you can connect to a computer, obviously it should be in a running state, right? It is still loading the instance. Let us give it some time. So right now it is in a pending state. You can, so this is the Amazon resource name that so this is the name that I have given, test server. And this is the name that AWS internally has given. That is its instance ID. Okay. I can keep changing this name. Test server, I can make it test server 1, test server 2, whatever. But the internal ID, once this computer got created, I will click on this link. It will give me all the details regarding this computer. Okay. So this will not get changed. Okay. This is not going to get changed. Now, as I had said earlier, I will show you how I can use MobaXterm to connect. Now here, you are always going to require, let me actually grab some screenshot here so that once you are into this page, this is the part that you are interested in. So now we are in the connection phase. We are trying to go into, we will attempt to connect. So here, this is the name of your server. Name of remote server. Or you can say the, oops, it is automatically filling up, EC2. Okay. Now this is the public IP. We need this IP to connect. Okay. Do not use the private IP. This will not connect. We need the public IP. This public IP will keep changing. Whenever you stop your EC2 instance, we need this IP or public. So what I will do here is I will copy this IP and parallelly, before you connect in your local system, like if I go to downloads, you should have the PEM key file. This is your key file. If I check the properties of this file, this is your private key. Okay, PEM file. This should be present. Let me remind you of the diagram. This is the thing that we are trying to do. Windows 11, Windows 10, my local computer, using MobaXterm or PuTTY. Right now I'm going to use MobaXterm because that is the one that is installed. And using the .pem format, I will connect to this remote Linux system. Let's see how we can do that. So my MobaXterm is already present. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on session. And then the kind of session that I'm going to create is SSH. Okay, here the remote host, this is the EC2 public IP. I will put in the public IP here and then specify username. By default, whenever you create a EC2 instance, remember this. Default username for any EC2 instance created in AWS will be EC2-user. This is the default name. So using this username, I'm going to connect. So the first thing is your public IP and then check this box which says specify username and here type in EC2-user. Okay. But then this is the remote computer IP and you will log in using this username, but you have not given the security details. So security, you are going to connect using a private key. Now you will click on private key here, check this box and click on this icon here and navigate. Where is it downloaded? So it is there in my downloads folder, test server.pem. If you see, even in my AWS console, if you check, if I scroll down here, in my computer, EC2 instance details, if you scroll down, the key pair assigned at launch, you cannot use any other key pair. So you will have to use the private key related to this key pair only. So it is named test server. Okay. So if I go back here, so test server and with the extension .pem, I'll click on open and I'll just click on OK. And it will come up with this box. Just click on accept. It is trying to authenticate. As you can see, now I have got logged in. This is my remote computer. I have logged into this remote computer. So let me enlarge on this. So this is my remote computer. This is the user at the host name. And in this, I have connected using SSH. Does that answer your question? This is actually to Rumi, whoever asked this earlier. But I mean, like overall, this is how you remotely, this black screen that you are seeing now, this is not my Windows desktop anymore. Okay. This is my, this is the remote EC2 instance. Now, I will open up the forum for questions.
So, Kalol, I think people are pinging me for explaining me the architecture diagram. If you can go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Can you please show how to convert this PEM file to PPK?
Yeah, in tomorrow's class, I will show. Everything we cannot do in one class. But
Okay.
Remind me, who is this? Who asked this question? Kindly remind me once.
Sure.
Tomorrow, yeah, guys, please remind me. We have done only one way of connecting.
Right.
We have done only Windows 10 using MobaXterm. We will learn the putty thing also. Sorry. Now let me go back to the, yeah, who has got the question regarding architecture? So there is no architecture here right now. I did not discuss anything much. So maybe at a very preliminary level. Like Rahul, who was asking the question?
No,
whoever has got question related
so what
to that.
they are asking that from the curriculum, if you can just explain the curriculum.
Okay.
Once for the new students, if you can open the curriculum and explain that, and then how you are going to, what are the tools you are going to teach, how you will be integrating.
Curriculum, I think, has already been shared. I got your point, Rahul. Thank you.
Yeah, just explain the curriculum. They're saying if you can explain the curriculum, not shared, but explain. Maybe I can do that. Yesterday, I think
I actually I don't have the link right now. This is
okay,
a
fine. I will explain. Okay, just
so curriculum I'm leaving to you, but let me explain here what the tools that we are going to use. Okay, so basically this DevOps project, this course here is completely project based. We are going to use lots of tools. DevOps, I have not yet discussed. Okay, that was actually my intention. Tomorrow we will do that after the putty connection. I will discuss in detail like what DevOps is and what is your role going to be as a DevOps engineer. When you're aiming to become a DevOps engineer, you will be using DevOps tools, practices, methodologies. Okay, so it is more of a culture. Don't think that DevOps is using one tool or working in one method. No, it is a collection. Now we are going to do a capstone project where end-to-end we will do something called a CICD pipeline. Don't worry if these are new words for you. Everybody starts from somewhere. So basically what this is going to mean is there will be a development team. They are going to write the code. Code for what? Code for applications, software applications. Okay. There will be another team which is going to test before the general public starts using it. They will have to test it if the application is working fine or not. And there will be another team called operations team, which is going to deploy this. Now, this is like in very simple English terms that I've expressed it. This thing is called something, this is called SDLC, Software Development Life Cycle. Like you start from the drawing board, you build the code, you deploy the code, you write the code, build the code, deploy the code, and finally your application like WhatsApp is working. For running WhatsApp, there are, just for example, for Facebook, there are more than 3 billion lines of code that have been written. Okay. So any software requires development, and that development has got its own life cycle. Okay. Now we are also going to use SDLC, but we are going to use the DevOps methodology. Okay. We are going to build our own web application. And for building that, we are going to use all these tools here. Okay. I will not get into the detail of each and every tool right now. This will come up as we proceed in a linear manner. So there will be Git, that is your version control. GitHub will be for your remote repository. Jenkins will be your continuous integration and automation server. AWS we have already started using. That is going to be your infrastructure as service, or in other words, your cloud platform. We are going to use Maven as a build tool. All of these details I will be discussing. Ansible will be for your deployment. Docker also for creating your container images. Kubernetes for maintaining those and configuring those containers which you create in Docker. So what I've said in the last 2 minutes, it is the in its entirety. I definitely am sure for beginners, they will not understand this thing. This will come up gradually. So in the diagram, we are going to use, so this thing is again at a very high level. This gradually, as I keep proceeding, you will understand this. So there is the Git, where using the Git client, this is the version control software. Using this software, developers will write the code, but they are going to store the code in GitHub. That is a remote repository. From that repository, Jenkins will fetch the code and provide build. Okay, so here we are going to use a tool called Maven. That is going to be our build tool. And once it gives the build, Ansible is going to deploy it. Ansible is the software to deploy it in various containers. So for creating containers, we need Docker. And for managing the containers, we need Kubernetes. So the idea here is to put it very simply, there will be change in code. New code will be written, and that code will directly lead to creating any application like Facebook, Spotify, your Gmail, Google Maps, Compass, Adobe PDF, Skype. These are all applications. All applications require code in the background. So using the DevOps CICD pipeline, the CICD pipeline that we are going to create, continuous integration, continuous deployment, continuous delivery. When we are, so for that, we are going to create a pipeline. One by one, things will happen automatically. So our objective by the end of the course will be, moment developers make a change in the code and they push that code, immediately it will reflect in the change will reflect in the application. Okay, so it will go through these various processes: code, source, build, test, deploy, and then yeah. So this is basically the thing. Rahul, I mean, like it is. I know I rushed it, but
yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So basically, guys, these are the tools which we are going to complete. But then you don't have to focus on tools. Focus on, okay, that there is a major project which we are going to do. So Sairam, Ansible is used as here as a deployment tool. Okay, so it's a configuration management tool, but it will be used for deployment, right? So that is why. So here you see, this is our curriculum which we have already shared with you all. Okay, this curriculum says it's like a very simple curriculum where we are saying that, okay, we'll be covering this many this much hours of training, this many projects will be covered, and 2 years of working experience you will get. I think this is little wrong. Okay, this 52 modules, we have to update this. We'll update and we'll send it to you, new one. Okay, and then if you go down here, you see this is the major projects. This is like some like project wise, tool wise, like things are here. You're like CI/CD pipeline you will use with Maven. First you will do one simple project, okay, without Kubernetes, and just by using Jenkins and Git and the build tool to see that, okay, things are working or not. Then you will go for Tomcat server deployment. Then you will go for Dockerization. Okay, then you will go for using Ansible, and then later you will go learn little bit of Kubernetes. Okay, where you will do Kubernetes thing. We will see how to create manifest file, how to create pods, what is EKS-CTL. Okay, how to create EKS. Okay, in the AWS, like Elastic Kubernetes service. How to bootstrap the server and other things. Okay, once you do that, we will try to explain you the CI/CD over the Kubernetes part. Okay, once we do that, you will know the complete picture, how a complete flow works. Okay, from here to here, to from developer's machine to directly to the server, where customers are coming and checking the web application. Here you see, for the deployment purpose, Ansible we are using, which is not just going to do the deployment, but will also configure the server. Okay, so that's why we are also saying Ansible as a deployment tool. Okay, so because it is used here as a deployment purpose. So now this is what we have actually designed for you all, which you will be learning in this quick DevOps course, which will be helping you to jump straight away after 1 month to the DevOps world. Okay, and get the learning fast, right? Okay.
Bhuman has raised his hand. So yes, Bhuman, what is your question?
Hey, yeah, so I'm a software developer right now. So this is
Okay.
just a specific question. Like, so this is like, how much time will it take to complete the course? Is it like 10 to, because I just, joined the group and I just, joined this meeting. So maybe I skipped many of the part. Just last 15 minutes I was there in the call.
No problem. It will overall it will be spread over a period of 1 month.
Okay, and so is it a daily class or is like
Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
8 p.m. to 9 p.m. IST, right?
IST, sorry, Indian Standard Time. So
Okay.
anyways, you will be part of that Zoom link. You will get that link. Like unless I start the meeting, nobody else can join.
Right. And in this whole project, right, the project you showed, so say like as a developer,
there are multiple projects here. Just don't go by the sixth thing. The one which I described in my screen, that is the entire capstone project. But then that is the major CI/CD pipeline. You are from developer background, so maybe you already have idea about all of this.
Yes.
Which kind of you have the idea. So that
Right.
for achieving that entire CI/CD pipeline, okay, that we will achieve by the end of our course. So the idea is developers will simply push the code. Automatically, all the changes will be taken care of by all the CI/CD tools, DevOps tools we are using. So the only thing after developer pushes the code from his system or her system will be, you just have to, the user will only refresh the page. So that is the entire capstone project. To achieve this, there are various mini sections. Those are the mini projects that we are going to do. So it is not just don't take it like 6 or 22.
Right. So say like if we created so we are going to do practical where we have a one GitHub repository and we commit the code, right? And
exactly.
Okay.
100% these things will be practical. As part of your interview, when you are going to appear interview, you can showcase your GitHub links that I have created this. I have created this. So this is a dummy website which I created, and this is how I deployed. You can please check this GitHub link, post it in your resume. Then people will click on the link, and then they will, if they see that there is a but then before the interview, make sure that your EC2 instance and servers are up and running. You give them the link. Yeah, then they click on that link, and if it works, then obviously the next thing they will ask is, how did you manage to do this? Then you describe the structure. How? Let me share my screen. So then you are going to explain something like this, right? Like how you did it. Now this will be much more detailed. Right now I have got something like this was a very preliminary thing. So you will come across. Let me open up the diagram. I will be discussing this with things like architecture diagrams like these. Okay, you are going to explain this all in your interview, like what happened here, where was the Docker container created, where was the image, where did you get the war file and stuff like that. Make sense? So then in your interview you will be able to so right now, like I explained actually this part, how to connect to a remote server using private key, public key. Okay, so that's why, guys, you are asking many questions. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but then give me some time to explain. These are complicated things. There, we will have to respect the knowledge level of the group. There are many of you have already been using this, and many of you are absolutely new to this. So from the trainer's perspective, I have to make the knowledge available for everybody so that everybody understands. So don't worry, I will teach at my own pace of the curriculum so that everything gets explained in detail. And as and when I keep proceeding, I will prompt you to ask questions. But then my expectation is, please ask questions related to what I have been teaching. Now, for example, there are people who are asking questions on Ansible. Ansible will come later on. Please be patient. I was discussing something else today.
So guys, what are we actually trying to do? This is kind of corporate training. Suppose if you, I don't know if you all have attended any corporate training in life. So if you attend any corporate training, what will happen? What you have to do, you have to set up the system first, the lab first, right?
Exactly.
So you will set up a lab like he explained now. So you will install whatever software he's saying. Suppose if he says you install Visual Studio, if you install a virtual box, if he's saying install GitHub, Git Bash, okay, if he's asking you to install whatever softwares you will be installing as per whatever he is explaining, MobaXterm, Putty, try to follow whatever teacher is saying. Once that is all done, your lab setup is done. Once your lab setup is done, right, it's like very quick then. Whatever we will do in video, you will also do the same thing in home. Just pause the video, do it. Pause the video, do it. Use Alt Tab in your keyboard. Go to the video, see the video, do the same thing. And then do that. First you do by seeing the video. Then later try to do without seeing the video. We'll also give you documentation so you can follow the same documentation and do the things without seeing the video, which will make your lab session very fast. So all these things, it is taking this much time, okay, for us to complete. Once you complete everything, you will see that these projects you will be able to do very fast because the concept you will understand. And then it will be very easy for you all, right? So that's the whole intention. It's kind of corporate training. Generally, we complete this training in corporate for 40 hours, 8 hours per day. Same thing we are trying to explain here by giving gaps so that the practice time you can do it in your home and we can just teach the lecture time, right? That's why it is 22 hours. And 22 hours you will give for your own. Okay, 2 hours we have kept more. Why? Because we wanted to give some interview tricks so that you can actually complete the interview purpose or interview things as well. Okay, so 20 hours us, 20 hours yours, 2 hours for interview.
Any more questions, guys?
Sandy raised the hand. Sandy, you can
go ahead. Sanders. I don't know.
I just had one question, like whatever the tools we are using, right, Ansible and can we use the same tools for if you are working on Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud?
See, Ansible you can use in Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud also. But then here what we are focusing on AWS. So you will also do the thing in AWS.
I completely understand. But in certain companies, if there is a scenario where we have to work on multiple cloud for a particular application.
Yeah, definitely you can do. See, Ansible is like a language. Once you know that language, if you can do for AWS, just copy paste you have to do. Change the variable. That's it. You will be able to do for Azure also. You will be able to do for Google Cloud also. Right?
Yeah, I'm not asking about particular Ansible only. I'm asking about Jenkins, Docker.
Yes, all of them. These are open source tools. Open source tools meant for all the operating system platforms. When I say operating system platforms, you are going to deal with only 3 types. These are the 3 types: Windows, Apple, and Linux.
Okay, completely understand. All these 6 projects, whatever you're teaching, right? They all will be done on AWS platform only, right? You don't have any opportunity to get hands-on experience on Azure or Google.
Here we will not be teaching that. For Azure, you can opt for another session where because in 22 hours we can't complete that. We have to be honest. Okay, you can do this. You can do this, Sanders, in Azure, in Google Cloud also. If you want, you can do that. Whole thing.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
one more question actually. So like nowadays, if I see the trends, right, on the Google or the Stack Overflow, like people are opting for CI as a like continuous integration is like Azure DevOps using the HAM, right? And then
Helm. Yeah.
the
Okay.
code deployment is going on the like a particular whatever the provider, like cloud provider, they are integrating it. So in future or in current scenario, do we have like you guys provide that kind of curated
So yeah.
session or trainings? Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you
So
talking about Helm chart in Kubernetes?
Yes, I mean which is
So
now
Kubernetes is
getting
part
more.
of. Yes.
Yeah.
Kubernetes is part of the, as I showed you earlier. So
Mhm.
here I can't get into much detail. Please
that's okay.
understand.
Yeah.
It will come up
Yeah.
come up later on. But Kubernetes is part of our. We are going to use Kubernetes. Using Kubernetes will give you the flexibility of changing your cloud service provider. Be it maybe you want Google, or maybe you want Azure or AWS. So using that those Helm values, Helm install upgrade, Helm charts, you can do that thing. But that is actually meant for a later date. That will be at a
Yeah.
very.
No, I understand. But that is included in this one, right? No need of the other.
Kubernetes is one of the primary softwares that are used for container orchestration. So yes, you are going to learn Kubernetes. I'll not say that you will learn
Helm
each
is
and
not
everything.
there. Helm is not there in this.
In this
Right.
course, it is
Hello.
not there, but
Helm
Kubernetes
is not there. Right. For Helm, you have to attend another. I'll send you one link, lms.lwplabs.com, where we
advanced
are
Kubernetes
actually
actually.
focusing on Kubernetes only on Kubernetes, where we'll not show this many things. We'll only focus on Kubernetes, deep dive into Kubernetes architecture, and then package manager, which is Helm, will do that. Okay.
Sure.
So
Sure.
now
I think no, this is I understood. This is more like someone wants like me who doesn't know the DevOps, right? But knows the like terminology. Like if I want to jump in, right? Like this is I mean, personally, I would say like going to other trainings, this is more valuable where you just focus on point to point, right? No like other steps or anything like that, and you also gets the hands-on industry projects. So no, I appreciate that. But then I was like every company has their own different standards, right? So that's why I come up with those questions.
So here I'm just using we use just a simple common sense. You have to be at. Are you seeing my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. So see, beginner level, intermediate level, advanced level. First, understand Kubernetes. That is your beginner level. Then Helm chart and all that will come in intermediate level. Okay. This is your learning glide path. This is what I actually said yesterday. That will make it. See, your learning means understanding. It does not mean copy paste. Whatever I'm doing on my in my screen, you just replicate, see that and copy and paste it in the server. That is not necessarily understanding. So you have to understand. My focus during this instructor-led training period, during this 1 month session, will be to focus on making all the folks understand the core concepts. You can use cloud, you can use AWS, you can use GCP, or you can use Azure or DigitalOcean. Does not matter. They are all cloud platforms. The important thing is understanding how cloud works. That is more important. In DigitalOcean, so for example, here just now for today's session, what I did here was I created something called Amazon EC2. Because you are using AWS, you are calling it EC2. If you would be using DigitalOcean, another cloud platform, you will call it Droplet. These are nothing but fancy names. At the end, you should realize the understanding should be whatever your cloud platform you are using, you are actually creating a remote computer and connecting from your local computer. This part should be clear. As a DevOps engineer, you will be coming across hundreds of tools. Technology keeps changing. It is a dynamic landscape. You are in IT industry. Always there will be advancement in technology. And because of that, you will have to keep ramping up. So, okay. So remember this thing in simple terms: beginner level, intermediate level, then advanced level. Learn the beginner level.
Okay.
Kallol, can we get this screenshot? I mean, the diagram.
Kallol, can you send this? And you have a class, right, Kallol, now? maybe I
Yeah.
think you can leave.
That's fine. Let us end this thing, and like within the next 2 minutes,
You
let
can
us wrap up.
jump into another.
Somebody asked for some diagram. Which one?
Yeah, this one you draw about the all keys and the connecting
okay, this stuff.
with the.
Yeah, I will share it. Don't worry, I'll share it. It will be, but it will be in a PDF file. But I will send it somehow. I will export the file
in
later.
the WhatsApp. In the WhatsApp, you can
check it in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Okay. We will just entertain one last question, please. Don't worry, guys. There is a session tomorrow also. Hold your horse. We can and keep asking questions on the chat channel. All of us are actually, we have got other commitments also. So yeah, one last question. Let us quickly entertain that.
Yeah.
Yes. So why are you teaching everything this for free? I mean to say that.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question again?
Hi. I wanted to ask that you are teaching all the course structure for free. So is this some sort of NGO?
No, we are not teaching for free, Yogesh. This for a few.
This is introductory
earlier sessions, like the 3 sessions are free. After that, obviously, because professionals are giving time, we are going to charge you all, which is like less than $100. Okay, which is 8,000 rupees, Indian rupees, less than that, not more than that. Okay, and we'll be charging that. So thanks for asking that question. So it's not free again. Okay, so but yeah, our free contents are there in YouTube channel, which I am actually sharing. All those are free content. Okay, go and check that. We do also have our website where we have a lot of our courses, this kind of courses which are free. Okay, I will also post that. You can check that. But then if you are a person who need a human touch, you need a motivation, who need to join every day and somebody need to guide, okay, obviously you should come and join the course. It's not that a big deal. It's not going to make a big hole on your pocket. It's like very less amount, and it will give you that full journey where you can do certain projects and jump into the DevOps world, right? So interview questions I have actually shared here in the Zoom chat. Click on that link and try to see all the interview questions, whatever is there. If you need any other specific interview questions, please post the topic, request the topic, and I will definitely try to create interview questions. Yeah, shell scripting will be covered here. Okay, we'll try to cover one simple project maybe for shell scripting. We'll try to do that, Nilesh. Okay, thanks all for joining. I think Mujahid, you are asking for placement. Placement assistance, as in like we will be sharing this kind of CV to all of you. Let me share my screen quickly. This kind of CV, okay, where we will be helping you to create your CV and start applying for job. If any company is telling you that we will be helping you in your placement, okay, I believe me, this is like a fake. Okay, they don't do that. Generally, nobody will be able to do that placement in just $100 or something like that. Okay, never, ever. Okay, they can teach you, they can make you well qualified, and you have to have your bachelor's degree. You have to have some prior past experience, or if you do not have experience, you go as a fresher, start applying for job. Suppose if you are a Java developer, what you can do, if this is like Java development already, what you can do, change your DevOps experience. Okay, this is what any IT engineer will do. You will do the DevOps experience by learning the project, change this thing, change your details, and start applying for a job in Monster, in Naukri.com, in Indeed, and you will get calls. You will start applying for job. How will you know that calls are there or not? Go and check Naukri.com or Monster. You will find hell lot of jobs are there in DevOps. The salary of structure is also good now, so start applying for it. Okay, placement, we get a lot of openings from our students, from our referrals. We post it in Slack channel like we posted here. Okay, we also got some openings few days back where we posted here that we want some people who know this kind of things, and people applied for it. We referred for it. Okay,
So these are the things. So something like this, if there are openings, we will generally share it and you will get the opportunity to apply for it. That's what we do. Okay. That's why we are saying JP Morgan job was there. We applied for it. God of shared. Similarly, if you have working in some company, you have a referral thing, you can refer here and people will apply and you will get a referral bonus. So currently that's the reason we are creating a Slack community so that we can help each other. Okay. That's why 1700 people are there. Now we wanted to increase it. So that's why we gave you the Slack channel as well link. So log into the Slack channel. People will be there who can help you in case of job support, who can help you in case of job search. Okay. Thank you, Mujahid. I think we are okay to close the session. Let's join tomorrow. Any other doubt, please ask in the chat. The link is there. Okay. Please ask in Slack channel if you want. I have also given my WhatsApp number. Let me give it one more time. Okay. I am available in EST time. So if you call me over WhatsApp in this, I will be available. You can, even if you are in US directly, you can call me. Okay. And I'll be happy to answer you technically, whatever you want to know. Okay. Please do refer us if you like this particular kind of a session, which is project oriented, which is straightforward without it's like kind of corporate KT kind of planning. Okay. If you like this kind of where curriculum will be small, we'll do certain projects, we'll end up the session, something like that. So if you like this kind of approach, please give us a like over YouTube or Google reviews, and